Good afternoon. This is a long day.
It's a great day.
It's a long,
And it's not
great
raining.
day.
And it's not raining.
It's a beautiful day. So my name is Tristan Thoma. I head strategy for Diginex Americas. And can give some background in the meantime while this is getting up. So Diginex is a global company. Actually, I'll start with myself and go into Diginex with the slides. I, once again, head strategy, primarily focus on corporate and government solutions. Spent the past 2.5 years working on internal corporate solutions with GE, Swiss Re, Hyperloop on blockchain implementation. So either with tokenized systems or with smart contracts, smart contract systems, such as with Swiss Re was just satellite inputs executing smart contracts. And now with Diginex, I'm working on effectively a lot of similar projects with bigger cannons. So very excited to speak with you and tell you a little bit about what we have. This is supposed to be a map around that. Diginex is a global company, headquartered in Hong Kong. I'm based in New York. We have offices all around the world, a team of around 100 people, which allows us to focus on many different verticals, including 3 primary facets, which are asset management, markets, and advisory. Asset management is with funding, a fund of funds, as well as asset allocation and custody. We have partnerships secured with Lloyd's of London for insured custody of digital assets, which are coming online in the next few months. Markets, once again, still going through the licensing for international digital assets exchange. And I'm focusing primarily on the advisory side, which are STOs, helping established companies, not so much startups, but established companies with existing P&L and or existing patents, assets, digital market share to implement blockchain in different ways, whether it's with tokens or with smart contract frameworks. And our company, I think, is very unique because it was founded by bankers. I myself don't have a banking background, but the founders of it come from 20+ years of investment banking, and they live in the world of compliance. And when they first got into blockchain, they had conversations with exchange owners and thought to themselves, similar to probably a lot of you, like, what the heck is going on? There is no regulation, there's no, there are no bounds on what people are doing. They're just making and taking money through this digital kind of streams. And so they started Diginex 2.5 years ago with this aim of bringing the maturity of institutional bankers to create this institutional framework for taking part in the asset class of digital assets. So one of the things I wanted to come and present on specifically related to security tokens are the 4 concerns that we really that we've seen in engaging with companies that either want to have or are, in our case, are executing STOs, and happy to be an ongoing resource for all of you. Firstly, vendors, partners. I wanted to mention it earlier, but did not. We have found that really the most difficult part is coordinating each of the vendors for supporting the framework for a successful STO, which is a combination of an auditing party. Finding an auditor in the US that will put their name on a company to run an STO is not an easy thing. In addition to finding a valuation company, in addition to finding a corporate governance or a risk committee approval, or a fund administrator that's willing to put their name as a reputable company on whatever this asset is. So we actually have put tremendous amount of resources into creating this this network of vendors that we've established relationships with, and like to support that. In addition to exchange solutions, I think exchanges, we love you guys. We don't have to be the technical developers for the framework or for the token itself, although we do have developers for that. We like partnerships. I view every person in the decentralized world as decentralized partners. Love the collaboration as with even in Alpha Point, obviously, I mentioned that we had worked with them before. KYC, AML, on the exchange side. We are, as I mentioned, with the real estate STO, we are offering as well distribution funding over the next 6 months, acquiring licenses for funding in US, UK, Singapore, Malta, Hong Kong, and I believe there's one more, and really as functioning similar to an investment bank. Once again, from the top, we were founded by investment bankers, and with the implementation strategy from people like myself, combined with the regulation compliance of investment bankers, we believe we can really work in the light. As we saw at the beginning, a lot of people operate in crypto or blockchain in the dark, and we believe that by working in the light, you can actually avail more opportunity, larger capital, better projects. And then investor protections, which is another thing I want more of a discussion around. But investor protections is one of the key points that that we found is not or was not a conversation held in the crypto space. In that, for instance, with the real estate placement that we're doing, we are subject to quasi-public company strictness, such as, I don't think you can see it, management is subject to insider trading prescriptions. We come from the premise that investors come before founders, which was absolutely unheard of in the ICO world, in the first generation crypto world. But if any of you have worked with investment bankers, they know that's where you get institutional funding. Institutional funding comes when an institutional investor knows that they're going to get their returns. Once again, that it works with regular business logic. Regular business logic has protections for the investor. And if we comply with that, once again, by working in the light, we believe we can have greater access to capital, greater access to successful projects and businesses and partners. As well as providing the buyer of last resort being the host company, as opposed to this within the framework of the real estate investment. As opposed to just kind of letting the fund say, well, I hope you get your money. And if the token goes, if the token goes to nothing, then sorry. We don't believe that's the way to mature the industry. And so we offer, at least in this framework, a buyer of last resort within the 7 to 10 year framework of creating markets, which are regular real estate investment timelines. As well as I mentioned, the insured custody through Lloyd's of London. Once again, our approach is largely to empower companies that want to execute STOs within a multi-jurisdictional framework, compliant with US, UK, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Jersey. You'll receive this PowerPoint afterwards, I trust.
Yes, they will.
You don't have to read the words, but effectively, we come from this standpoint that we want to work with compliance and regulators and governments, and this will empower our overall personal growth as well as the growth of the industry. And this is a disclaimer because...
It's a disclaimer
yes.
that we cannot possibly read.
Good. You'll receive it in the PowerPoint. And once again, happy to just be a resource for any insights, any questions.
Thank you. We're going to run out of time for the rest of the presentation, so maybe one question now, and when we end, maybe follow up with you. Any specific questions?
Could give also a couple examples of other projects that we're doing.
Go ahead.
So in addition, we're doing a security offering or a securitization for a logging company based in Africa, specifically related to trade finance. It's also something I had worked on with GE. Within a closed supply chain of partners that have relatively regular orders and fulfillment of those orders, you can actually, using a ledger of reliability, once you have an offload guaranteed by a buyer, you can actually achieve credit at a better rate than with a regular bank not having a blockchain framework. So we're creating ERC 721s does anybody not know what ERC 721 is? Okay.
May be embarrassed to raise their hand.
So ERC 721 is effectively a non-fungible token. It's a unique digital fingerprint of a particular asset. So in this case, we are digitizing the contract for purchase in order to fund the trade finance at a lower rate because there is that guaranteed offtake.
So are you your bank guaranteeing the logging company? You're guaranteeing the bar?
Great question. No, we are not. We are establishing the framework by which they can guarantee the offload of this contract. So we're creating the digital system for this logging company to get lower rate trade finance. Does that answer your question clearly?
Kind of, which is good enough. All right, thank you.